Okay, hi guys. It seems like most people have moved over to our second panel. My name is Alyssa, and I'm going to be moderating the second panel. So, this panel is about how society grapples with COVID-19. And if everyone could just remember to keep their mics muted by clicking on the microphone icon, that would be great. We're going to have a few presenters. First will be Ananda Majumdar, Neo Soraya, Taylor Croft, and then last but not least is Paul Dansero. So again, just a reminder to, if you have any questions during the presentations, just go into the Q&A and type them out. It's kind of nice if one pops into your head, you can just ask it immediately. And again, we'll have a Q&A at the end of the panel. And just a reminder to the presenters, you have a maximum of 15 minutes, and we'll be sending you a direct message at your 5-minute warning, and then at 1 minute, we'll send you another message. So starting us off is Ananda Majumdar. He is a childcare educator at Brander Garden School and After School Parents Association. He is also an education student at both the University of Alberta and at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Some of his other passions include traveling, conferences, and social work. And here are his thoughts on post-COVID-19 crisis and the world, the global order, and the visions of various fields.
Okay, thank you. So my paper is the post-COVID-19 crisis and the world, the global order, and the vision of the various fields. So this is my methodology. It's about the documentary analysis through the qualitative approach. So the focus is on exploring the ideas and summarizing and interpreting, and mainly the expressed in words through ebooks and peer-reviewed journals, which I mentioned as documentary analysis. And through qualitative approach means in-depth understanding and insights on the topic, reading and then writing in my own word. So that is called the qualitative approach. The COVID-19 and global politics. A political impact in advanced countries would be the highly affected due to the misrule of the virus and allowing it to increase. Especially the Prime Minister of Japan perhaps forcedly the step down by their other political parties before the term, while in the United States, the recession has again started due to the devastation effect of the pandemic. And I know that we all have seen, we all have heard yesterday that the Japanese Prime Minister already has resigned by saying that he is ill. But I think he is very much pressured by the people as well, because whatever he says, his policies, he actually didn't protect the Japanese society. In South Korea, citizens are appealing to the President Moon to step down. An estimated 800,000 people signed for a petition for the impeachment of the President Moon, who declared before that the virus will disappear soon. And South Korea was the next second after China in the Southeast Asian region in the context of COVID-19 pandemic growth. We have seen only that Taiwan is the winner in Southeast Asia because they were very much aware about it, and they had advanced healthcare systems in every hospital. Now, Hong Kong and Taiwan are in deep trouble with China, because we all know that what is happening even during the pandemic. They deployed the military in Hong Kong and also going to do something for Taiwan as well. The communist, and now I'm talking about especially about something about China. The Communist Party of China, due to the condemned about party's rule over pandemic in China, the professor Yaxu Xinhua of Tinsukia University, Beijing, had been dismissed from his teaching and served prison due to his criticism over Chinese Communist Party as the failure party to run to the country. That was his fault, that he said that this is a failure party and they can't run the country. And we all know that what happened with the Chinese governments. A global initiative, the Chinese government met with the head of the WHO and showed him their pandemic preparation for the safety of the people who believed in China and praised the president as the great leader of the country to manage the situation. So the WHO Director General um later was criticized globally because of his deal with China and praising the Chinese Communist Party. So it has been said that the director of the WHO is politically adaptable, who is politically related to China through his country, Ethiopia, where the political donation from China is in full swing. Now, about the internationalization, we know about the border diplomacy. The transnational border have been closed as the decision by the governments of every country. Though it is not clear that how does the disease control or it has been controlled by the shutdown of the borders worldwide. But a popular response by the government around the world prior to the pandemic, it was a popular doctrine of every government for the border orientation, but the COVID-19 crisis has changed the ideologies of the government, and now they are fighting against the invisible disease through the closing border from their neighbor countries. And in this situation, the rivalry between the United States and China has grown up. Also, the rivalry between China and India in Asian continent has been risen up. And we all know that what happened in the Galwan territory in Indian borders, stuff like that. The 20 Indian soldiers have been killed by Chinese PLA, and probably it has been said that 50 or more than 50 Chinese PLA army also have been killed by the clash and all these things. Due to the health crisis, election campaigns are cancelled in the United States and in Canada. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was in self-isolation and cancelled all his meetings with the provincial premiers. The Prime Minister Trudeau was asking for an early election as well. Now, the virus has done more. Now about the Britain. In the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Health Secretary Matt Hancock, and Chief Medical Officer Chris Whitty went into the self-isolation. The disruption at the top level of the government is huge and makes Britain an awful situation. The virus has done much more in the Britain with even the IRA couldn't do that. In India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi maintained the lockdown rules from the day one when the country had estimated 600 cases and 10 deaths, March 24, 2020. But the growth rate of COVID-19 victims in India is fast like the United States and Brazil after 4 months since her first lockdown. There was ultimately no vision for the migrant workers, and the lockdown damages their future employment. Workers are unable to afford food and rent, with no transportation. Migrants to the cities were left with no choice but to walk the interstate highways to return their villages. The Finance Minister of India declared free rations and minimal cash support to the unemployed workers, but it was not enough for a comfortable livelihood. Estimated 119 million jobs lost during the first 2 weeks of the lockdown, and there is no clear vision what they will come back to the job or not. So this is about the situation all over the world, about the global like their politics and in each and every country's governments and administrations, like how they are handling and managing the COVID-19 situation. Now about the post-COVID-19 scenario. The global supply will change. The global supply chain will be away from China and towards Brazil, India, Mexico, and Southeast Asian countries. The United States will rebound from no growth in 2020 to an estimated 3% growth in 2021. However, it will revive nasty and long forgotten counterweight inflation. Global growth for the rest of the world will be slower than the focused countries in the economy. The global travel will be resumed through teleconferences, virtual entertainment, and e-commerce. So traveling will continue due to the human nature when feeling bored. Due to the drop in carbon emissions, the levels of pollution in New York have reduced an estimated 50% because of measure of the contain the virus. In Europe, nitrogen dioxide emissions fading away over Italy. It is the same in Spain and the United Kingdom. Activists were advocating a decarbonized sustainable economy for a decade, but it has not been implemented. It's now an opportunity to rethinking about such an economy after the crisis. And it is also good news for India and China that the pollution is way reduced through the falling of the nitrogen dioxide and carbon in their skylines. It is also dreaming that the green living eco-museum system will be explored. Now the eco-museum is kind of living, like share living in a natural-based house and all these things. The post-COVID-19 may change the internationalization of higher education as another field, just like a political economic field. It can be through the innovation of the new school environment and sustainability and its various explorations along with disaster management. Taiwan, Singapore, South Korea have blossomed into respect for science and technology, the culture of pragmatism, willingness to learn the best practices from around the world, and showed their desire to catch up with the West. The role of internationalism will also, of course, affect the post COVID-19 era, followed by others to know how to control the pandemic situation and how to govern generally. The return to the normality in gradual, but the social distancing will be continued by the end of the next 2021. A combination of vaccine development will be continuing to explore within the widespread testing capacity. It shows that lockdown will be avoided fully if the virus spread again. In this situation, most economies will face a mild economic recession of estimated 2 to 3% yearly reduce, and however, growth will accelerate in 2021. The post-COVID-19 and in South Asia, what is happening in South Asia? India already steps on its through the goodwill medicine export for the survival of humanity worldwide. This is an advantage for India with global partners. India can choose new markets by designing a new strategy to replace too much reliance on China for the import, especially pharma APL. The Indian diplomacy in the scenario should not stop just after a few initiatives such as the providing medicine. It must continue to play a larger role in building a better and sustainable neighborhood in this new normal at a time when this partnership will be guided by new morals and ethics, challenges and responses. About the conclusion. So I have talked about the post COVID-19 and the global scenario and also the COVID-19 and the global scenario in the basis of political, especially focused on the politics, current politics, and then also focused on economic and social. Now the conclusion is, does it need to be realized? How can environmentally the world be saved? Is lockdown necessary even the normally conditions to provide nature with a backup? These questions need to be analyzed and the initiative need to be taken in the post-COVID-19 world. This is how the issue of global warming may reduce as well. The question is, what will be the image of global order in the post-COVID-19 scenario? The answer I already say about. It has been described over the countries that have influenced through their vast geographical, economic, and political image in the current world. It will, of course, be an opportunity for a total purification of the global scenario by countries through fair corporations and peace instead of free trade. Like it is a fair trade instead of free trade and violence. This can lead to a huge change in the global order if they wish to react over the normalizations positively to make an environmentally sustained globe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ananda. That was great. Quite an in-depth illustration of the politics going on right now.